Everyone. Welcome to the first episode in English of Andrea's interviews. Today we have David with us to reflect on spirituality. Happy listening.
Oh, David, school teacher, 49 years old. Right, spirituality. So I hear that word thrown about a lot, and I think for me, I feel like it's a sense of union. Okay, so it's a yoga, right? So spirituality for me is living consciously, being aware that I am part of something bigger, and that's also a part of me, that I'm not separate from energy, from divine consciousness, from God, whatever name you want to give it. I think it's the same thing. So for me, the spirituality is understanding that I'm part of something unfathomably big. Um, and to be spiritual, I think, is to tap into that. Yeah. So it's to sit with it, it's to experience the silence inside, and yeah, just I think if you're going to be spiritual, then you have to have a relationship with it. Yeah, that's what I think. Uh-huh. Universal consciousness, yeah, divinity. I don't think God is, you know, everyone can believe however they want to believe, right? But for me, it's not a being that is higher than me. Sat in a cloud, judging or nothing like that. I think for me, God is something that flows through us all, everything, not just humans, but every living thing. Trees, rocks, all the animals. That's God. God is energy, and it's scientifically proven that there's energy and that everything physical occupies an energetic space. So nobody can really discount energy. It's real, right? It's scientifically proven. And so even our body, right? I mean, our brain is electrical impulses. That's the only way we can move our body, right? Our nervous system. I mean, where does all that come from? Everything is connected, right? So for me, you probably could say that God is energy. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think we're a manifestation of energy, right? In human form. So we are, in essence, a spiritual being, but we're having this human experience. I know it's a bit cliche, but I think that's true. We're very fortunate to have been born as humans, because we could have been our our energy could have been manifested in anything, but we're lucky enough to be, the most conscious creature on Earth, and top of the food chain in many respects. And but I think people have to remember that that's such a fucking blessing, right? The fact that we're human and we have such a hard life, and we put so much pressure on ourselves, and living is so hard for people, and being happy and being joyful is so difficult. And it's like, you were born a human, like, you're so lucky. uh Ooh, right. I would say for me, what resonates with me, I probably would say body, mind, and I would probably say soul. But then I find it difficult to be able to distinguish between spirit and soul. You know?
The spirit is the connection with the invisible, the connection with that something bigger than ourselves. The soul is living
Mm.
this life, and then it will connect to the to the spirit, with the spirit. That's our
So the spirit's
definition
like
of them.
outside of us. So the spirit's outside of us. That's like our aura almost.
Yeah, it's like that connection, that part that connects us to the something bigger than us.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I never thought about it in that way before. You
Me
know,
neither.
it's
I didn't need
soul and spirit. It's like I do feel like I know what you mean. Like for me, like the soul's like inside of me, right? So I would
Yeah.
probably suggest say that's that light, right? That'll be my soul, and the spirit's like here. You know, that's how I would like imagine it, right? Yeah, but I mean, I just think I don't know. Like, I mean, I think our mind is like holds like the imprint of like our experiences from birth, right? But it can also hold, and many believe that it holds the imprint from past lives and generations going back thousands of years. I don't know much about that, and I've not experienced that. When I meet people who have experienced that, I'm like, oh, I want to experience that, right? Like, why can't I see what I used to be thousands of years ago, right? But I've not had those experiences yet. But then I haven't been in a situation where I've been able to be, you know, to reach that point. I guess I've never. I think sometimes you need the guidance to be able to get there. Um, Whereas the soul, I think that's the energy, isn't it? For me, the soul is like the energy. That's. I get it's like in my mind's eye, I see the soul as being this like swirling light, right, around my solar plexus. That's my soul. That's like the nucleus, is it? The nucleus and the atom type of thing. That's my soul. Yeah, that's that swirling ball of energy. Yeah. And
How?
that can manifest in many ways, I guess, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, that energy can be good, it can be bad, it can be toxic, it can be many things, right? So you got to try to use it wisely, you know.
100%. That's something that I'm actually
Mhm.
working on. It's gonna be one of the next sort of topics. It's gonna be about manifestation and the energy for both the good, the bad, and the
The
power
ugly.
of the words and the power of our thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting back to the soul, how do we nourish the soul? What nourishes the soul?
I guess it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah,
Like we were talking about earlier before we had this video now. I mean, like for some people, what nourishes their soul is being, in some crazy big city and the noise and the all that energy, and that's what makes them feel, you know, home. I guess if you want to nourish it, for me, it's being able to have conversations with people who who you can bounce off. It's good to be able to have deep conversations. That's a very big thing for me. Being around people that you feel aligned with, your tribe, so to speak. But also, it's the food that you consume, it's the media that you consume. It's living consciously and thinking, right, shit, I'm scrolling. I've been sat here for 3 hours scrolling, like, and being aware of that, but not just being aware of it, but taking action and thinking, right, I need to put this phone on airplane mode and put it in another room, you know? And so I think to nourish your soul, you have to eat the right food. You have to, commune with nature as much as humanly possible, daily if you can, right? As often as you can. But also, just to sit with yourself. I find sitting with myself amazing. Every morning I get up and I try to sit with myself for a little bit before I go to work. I get up, brush my teeth, I wash my face, and then I sit in front of my altar, which is my little sacred space. I light a candle, maybe I'll burn some sage or some Palo Santo, and I'll just sit there. Sometimes I'll say a little mantra. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of stretching, bit of asana. Sometimes I'll lie on the floor, whatever it looks like. And for some people as well, that's also movement. Sometimes you just need to move, right?
yeah.
Mindfully. But I mean, yeah, I think I think meditation, I think sitting with yourself is probably the most valuable thing I find. Just to have some silence in your life.
Yeah,
And that's when I really feel like you connect, when you just like all you can hear is your breath, you know.
yeah. What brings you a deep sense of fulfillment or peace?
Fulfillment of peace of nature. I would probably say that. Yeah. The most peaceful, content times in my life are when I've been in nature. You know, when I've not hearing cars and traffic, but been in a forest, or being by a lake, or being by a river, or on a mountain. Mountains are just. I think whenever you're somewhere where you can see the vastness. So if you're on a mountain or you're on a beach, I think that's why we find it so calming, because we're looking out and we don't see anything else. We don't see we don't have a lot of things close to you. You just see the vastness and the space, and I think that's what we really need, space,
Yeah,
right? To feel to
exactly.
feel like we're small, and there's so much beauty out there, right? And it's not really in the bottom of a McDonald's bag or a TV. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think just yeah, nature for me is healing, very healing.
We talked about it earlier, but how do you
Mhm.
define happiness? What is happiness for you?
Right. So this is a bit of a conundrum that I've been thinking quite a lot about this for quite a long time, really. And people always say, "Are you happy?" Right? Like, "Are you happy?" And it's like, well, uh, don't feel particularly aligned with my job. Um, there's certain things that would make me feel happier, right? I mean, money in the bank would certainly make me feel a bit more happy, right? I think lots of people can relate to all these things. Um, but for me, happiness is peace. Yeah, I'm not really chasing happiness. I just want peace in my life, right? So I want to be at peace with how I earn my money. I want to be at peace with the relationships that I have in my life, and peace with God, I guess, as well, and then just peace knowing that trust the process, live as much as you can now because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
um and you can't live your life for other people. You have to live it for yourself, so you have to do what you want to do and what feels right for you. And if people love you, then that's all they want for you, right?
yeah.
For you to be happy, for you to be peaceful. So yeah, for me, happiness is peace of mind.
If you could speak,
So yeah,
it's good,
go on.
beautiful. If you could speak to David of 20 years ago when you were 30, what advice would you give?
Stop trying to make friends. Stop trying to blend in. Stop trying to be accepted. Yeah, because I made lots of wrong friendships when I was young. I did lots of stupid shit that I shouldn't have done. Like just partying, but with all the wrong people. People who didn't have my best interests at heart. People who didn't really care about me, right? So I think when I was young, I was constantly just wanting to, be part of a crowd, trying to fit in all the time, and hanging out with people on my hometown and who didn't have any aspirations and didn't want to be better versions of themselves at all. And all that drags you down, right? I mean, apparently you're a product of your environment, right?
Yeah,
In many respects, but you're also heavily influenced by the people around you.
yeah,
The closest people to you are the people that can either make you or break you. So for me, if I was to look at my 20-year-old self, I would say, right, be comfortable staying at home,
yeah,
not having to go out. You know, that's a big one. Stop spending all your hard-earned money on doing things that aren't good for your health, and use that all that energy. I always say this with young people now. I think you've got all that energy and your health is good and you've got so many years ahead of you. And what are you doing with it? You're just getting pissed. you're taking drugs, whatever you're getting up to, and all of that could be spent in so much of a more productive way. It's building for the not just yeah, for your future, but also, I mean, the way you are, the way you treat yourself in your 20s will affect your health in your 40s and 50s,
Yeah,
right? So you really need to think about the bigger picture. Yeah. So my 20-year-old self, I would give him a slap. I would give him a shake, and I would tell him, like, look, you don't need these people in your life. Go and find people that are more aligned with your character. And to do that, to find that, you have to be looking inside, because I think a lot of young people, they don't know who they are because they don't spend any time with themselves, really.
yeah,
They're too busy looking outside of
yeah,
themselves.
yeah. It's very
Yeah.
important. It's very important. As we said earlier, it's an ever-growing path journey, but it's important as you say, to stop and just like get to know who we are deep
Hmm.
within.
Hmm.
Have you got
Yeah.
any guilt feelings or regrets? And if you do, how do you handle them? How do you handle guilt and regrets?
Um, yeah, I probably do. Lots. Yeah. People say you should never have regrets, but I think if you uh if you care about, you know, people and yourself, then of course you're gonna regret the way you've behaved in the past, right? Um, I regret, arguing with my parents, right? Saying hurtful things when you fall out with people when you're young, right? Um, so I'll deal with regrets, and also, I mean, with my schooling, right? I mean, I left school with nothing, zero, and then I had to go back when I was nearly 30 and start my GCSEs again. So I have big regrets for that because I lost 10 years of my life. Really,
But you lived
the
other
most.
experiences because with that
Mhm, I did, yeah, I did.
it resonated with me because I left school without finishing it and then I started again when I was 27 in England, in fact. But
Yeah,
then when I think back, it's just like, yeah, but then on that gap, on those 10 years gap, we did other things. We had other experiences that we wouldn't have had.
yeah.
We wouldn't have been the people we are if we haven't lived them, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it's all character building, right? I mean, I guess when I say lost, I'd probably say misused,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
misspent, a misspent youth, right? You know, um, when I could have been doing many more things, could have been learning, could have been more productive in my life, could have been traveling, not necessarily, educate myself, but I could have at least been traveling, right? So yeah, I wouldn't say, yeah, maybe I should rephrase that. Rather than lost, misspent my youth, I think. Um, yeah, yeah, probably.
And
Yeah, I'm
how
going
do
off on a
you deal
tangent
with
again.
that? How do you handle those feelings?
I just, I mean, there's certain because I kind of misused that 10 years. Now I value education.
Yeah,
And we're at an age now where everyone's teacher bashing now, and treating schools like they are indoctrinating children and all this sort of nonsense. And I just think, my God, around the world, millions of children's lives are completely transformed by education every single day. You know, um, and I just think, those experiences that I had when I was young and hanging around with idiots and all that, all that made me realize the kind of people that I want in my life, right?
yeah,
If I hadn't had these experiences, then I would, you know, yeah, I'd be a different person, right? I mean, I was always driven to want to educate myself, to want to go and travel. When I was 19 years old, I was always obsessed about what to get off my hometown and travel. And I knew that from a young age. It was difficult to do it because everybody around me was, you know, nobody had gone to college or anything like that. So we were all just doing the same thing. Um, it's all just testament to your character, isn't it? Really, I mean, you can spend a lifetime being treating yourself like as a victim, right? Or blaming this or blaming that, really. But really, you're the one that's in control of your life. You
yeah,
know, people talk about fate and divine intervention. I personally believe that that you are divine, right? So you are the one that's in control. So you can either choose to, you know, to live a life of regret, or you can choose to actually rise above it and make something more of your life and evolve and, you know, be a better version of yourself. And that's a lifelong journey, you know. Every day it's like, right, okay, yesterday I fucked up, so today I'm going to do better,
Yeah,
you know. And also I think sometimes say sorry. It's just not always to other people, yes, to other people, but, you know, to yourself as
yeah,
well, and just, you know, forgive yourself, because actually it is all part of the journey, right? You know. And, you know, if you, when we talk about living consciously, I mean, that's living consciously, knowing when you messed up, and, you know, and picking yourself up and, you know, doing better. Yeah.
love that.
Uh-huh.
If spirituality were a song, which one would it be?
Oh, oh, this is the one that I should have revised earlier, because I'm not really a big musical one. I would say, one of my good songs, very controversial figure, but I would say "Man in the Mirror," Michael Jackson. Yeah,
I know the
because I
song,
think
but I don't
everything
remember
is,
the lyrics now. But I will check it
I
after we finish.
yeah,
I will check.
yeah.
And we are
I
at
think
the.
when you look in the mirror, you have to be comfortable when you look in the mirror, what's looking back at you.
I like that. And we are at the last question. What do you believe happens after life when we die? Is there something after?
Um,
Is there something? What is your belief?
See, this is where I'm so open, right? Like, I like to believe personally, something that resonates with me is afterlife, but it's, like a reincarnation, because I find, you know, Buddhism and Vedanta philosophy in Hinduism is, resonates with me. But I'm just not sure. What I do know is that our physical body is just a physical body, right? So when we die, this will just decay, like everything else that dies. It will simply decay. It's just a vehicle, right? But then it's like, okay, so the body decays, um, the mind will stop working because it's no longer active. But then there's the soul, right? And the soul, what happens to the soul? 'Cause I don't know if the soul is like a light that you turn off, because if the soul is energy, and we are simply a manifestation of that energy, then that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah,
So I'm a bit like, does that energy go into something else, or does that energy kind of disperse and just kind of rejoin the energetic field, the cosmos, right? That's probably something that resonates with me more personally. I look at that in a more scientific way, I guess. Not that I'm scientific, but like I can picture how the energy would leave me and it would just merge back into the rest of it, you know. So my soul would just kind of merge back with the pure consciousness, you know, with the energy, with the divine, with God, whatever name you want to give it. Yeah. So, but I do like to think that I would come back as a, you know, butterfly or something. But let's see. Who knows? I might be very lucky and come back as another human, you know, and then I get to do it all again.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks ever so much for
But
that.
then, you know what?
Go
Also,
on, go on.
but then also, if your energy comes back out, then if your soul merges back um with the energy, with their universal consciousness, right, with divinity, then surely that will also be back in to another living creature, right? So in that respect, you are going to be reincarnated.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knows?
It's a mystery, but it fascinates
Yeah.
me to listen to all the different perspectives, and also for myself. I find myself having different views, and I believe in all of that, in all of them, if it makes sense.
Mm,
But I strongly believe fundamentally that there is something after. It's not just that we die and it's over. I believe that some
yeah.
part of us it moves and merges with something else, or we move forward and for a new lesson, because it's a never ending lesson. And I also believe that to fully understand life, we have to live all the experiences. So all the ones that we weren't
Hmm.
able to live here, we have to live them at some point. Or we might have lived them before in a previous life, if there was a previous life. And as you are,
Yeah,
I would love to be one of those people that they have the experience of
yeah,
like reliving
yeah.
one of the past lives.
But I
Who
think
knows? Maybe
like
one day I will
it's
be
not
able to
like
meet someone that will be able to tap into that
yeah.
energy, into that force that allows me to see the past, if there
Well,
was one.
I think like comic theory like suggests that, you know, or my understanding of it is that, you know, if you've still got lots of um you know, issues with your karma, then you have to do better, right? And eventually, and I think the ancient sages, you know, they get to the point where they leave their body after so long, and that's when true enlightenment happens, right? You know, when they leave their body and they genuinely merge back in because they fixed all of their karmic debt. They've
Yes,
repaid all their karmic debt, and they become saintly almost, right? And then they're able to leave, and then they're able to actually merge back into the divine, because actually now there is no more human life for them to have to be a part of, because they paid all their debt, you know. um yeah, I mean, I certainly don't believe in heaven and hell. For me, like, heaven and hell is like it's here right now. So you can be in heaven or you can be in hell. It's up to you. You're making it yourself,
yeah,
right? So you have a choice, I guess, and it's not easy, but I think you can either wake up every day and feel like you're living in hell, or heaven, right? I don't personally believe that when we pass over, we go to one way or the other. You know, I believe that's a human experience that we've made up, personally. And I think, when people talk about heaven and hell, when the ancient teachers talked about heaven and hell, Jesus, I think he talked about here now.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He was a very beautiful teacher, a guru of sorts, I believe.
yeah,
And I think a lot of
100%.
his messages were messages that how he was telling people that we should be living now, not after we die. It's now. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that's another wormhole. Yeah.
David, has been a pleasure as always. Thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you.
thoughts, your perspective, and nourishing the soul.
Thank you so much, man. This was so nice. I've not had these conversations for so long, and I've missed them, man. And I can't think of anyone better to have this kind of conversation with than you. You're
But
such a beautiful person,
if you
man.
like this kind of conversations, we can have them either on a weekly basis or probably every 2 weeks. Because, for example, this is what I've done with you today, okay? But then I've got all the
Right?
new questions already. I'm gonna send them over because I'm trying to do because, as you
Yeah.
say, for me, I love it. It's just like it's this hour chat that we had. I felt alive. I'm connected. I was there. I was there in the present, and this is the best. Like, thank you, as I said before, because for me it's a big present. Like, you telling me your views, your perspective, and opening up for me is is priceless, and is like love. This is it. It's energy and love.
Thank you so
No,
much,
thank
man.
you too.
God
Honestly,
love
it's
you. God love you, man. Thank you so much thank you for opening this door as well, right? And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak to you. And I've not spoken to you like this for a long time, you know. And I missed you, man. You're such a beautiful guy, and man, I'm just so happy that I have you in my life.
it's the
I
same
really
thing,
am, you
David.
know.
I do believe as well that if we met, it was written. I do believe that. I do believe that the people that we meet in life and we keep in touch, even if we don't talk for days, months, or even years, it's like we never left each other. If it makes sense, and that's
Yeah,
the beauty
yeah,
of being connected and be deeply connected.
yeah. Love you, man.
Love you too. Sending you lots of
Me too.
hugs. And then, as I say, I'm gonna sort it out, send it to you, you listen to it, and then you give me the feedback, what you think. And then if you fancy, as I say, it's an ongoing process. It was like it's a journey that
Uh,
I love doing with everyone, and I'm glad that you are part of it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of your day and speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. All